this is how it has to work. Because at the end of the day, to make this country run, you need X amount of pounds. It's just who, which group of people benefit more from, the areas where they cut back. It's all a bit strange, Madge.
Well, I'm not complaining. I've done very well out of the National Health. They've looked after me very well indeed.
Yeah, I've
certainly had my money's worth, I tell you.
Yeah, but well, in our family, pretty much the same thing, actually.
And I have, there have been one or two mistakes that have been made, but, they are human after all.
Yeah.
And I certainly didn't think they warranted, sort of great big complaints.
Sure.
Because overall, I was looked after extremely well, and
Good.
I'm still here to tell the tale.
And you're doing all right now?
Yes, not so bad at all, kiddo.
I'm glad to hear that.
Yeah, well, there you are. And you're all right, and I've heard Miss on the odd occasion.
Yeah, he was on yesterday.
So give him my love, won't you?
I certainly will do, Madge.
Nice to talk to you, my darling.
You take it easy,
and
all
you
right.
take care.
See you later.
Yeah, bye.
Bye. There you go. There's Big Madge in Barnes. Who ain't so big no more. How embarrassing is this? National Radio Britain, they can't remember the name of the health secretary. But that's what I'm saying. It does like this man is a real non-entity. He doesn't seem to kind of do anything or be anything. You got his name there yet, Pete?
No. So I was eating a minstrel.
Are you? That's all right. Don't mind minstrels on this show.
Is he one of those young, Laboury, PR-y type
He's
MP Bob?
He's young as in...
Showbiz. Is he showbiz?
No, he's not. He's not that showbiz. He's kind of young, as in if you're about 40 in that sort of position, it's quite young, I suppose. It's weird how that works. Like Portillo isn't looked at as being particularly old, and he's like 46.
He doesn't look 46 though.
No, he doesn't look 46.
He looks about 40.
Yeah, he looks all right for his age. But they all, there's a lot of them. Jack Straw is, about 48 or something.
Yeah, it's weird.
But I think it's because it's the whole kind of. The brilliant PR of the Labour Party, New Labour. It's all these new, fresh faces. And because we got so used to the old lot, you see all these new faces.
Yeah.
That they, even Robin Cook, who's probably older than God's dog, but because he's new, even 2 years on, he's still new. It kind of looks a bit different. Milburn.
One of those will be giving you your answer.
Hello, Health Secretary Hotline.
Tell him that bloke's name's Dorrell and stop him waffling, will you?
Dorrell?
Dorrell, Anthony Dorrell.
No, that's not the name of the guy.
Isn't it?
He's not the name of the Health Secretary, no.
I thought he was. It is Dorrell.
No, it's not.
What is it then?
Well, that's what we're trying to find out.
All right, then.
Cheers. It's Pete on his file. Tell him his name is Dorrell. I'm not messing about. No, it's not Dorrell. Dorrell? Who's Dorrell? I've never heard it. Hello?
Hello.
Health Secretary Hotline.
It's not.
Yes, it is.
It's not. It's 01712703000. And that's Tony Blair's number.
Yeah?
So...
What's that got to do with it?
Why am I on live?
Because I decided to put you on.
You're good. You are. Right, I've been trying to get through to Tony Blair's office all night.
Well, you're not going to talk to him, are you?
No. But...
What?
And they keep on cutting me off.
Well, that's pretty because you're a pain.
And last night I phoned and I got
Why are you
through.
telling me this? I don't want to know what you did in your night off.
But everybody else, it's not my night off. My whole life's my night off.
Well, I don't want to know what you did.
But I didn't do anything.
Why are you
Apart
telling
from
me?
listen to you.
You're ringing me up telling me you didn't do anything.
And then I listened to Ian. And I've never listened to you before, so why should I listen to you now?
Well, you don't have to.
But I do, I enjoy it.
Which is fantastic. What's the name of the Health Secretary?
Frank Dobson.
No, he's gone.
But now it's some stupid Scottish girl.
No, it's not a girl, it's a man.
Right, well, is it Michael Portillo?
Yes, that's it.
No, he's not, because he's Tory.
All right.
Don't mess with me, don't.
No.
No,
Don't do that.
No. So, I tried to phone Tony Blair.
Why'd you phone Tony Blair for?
Because I just wanted to
chat.
Let him know that I knew what was going on and he might like to speak to me.
I doubt that very much.
What, you doubt what?
That he'd want to speak to you.
Well, he probably doesn't want to speak to me, but he possibly should.
Why? What are you going to tell him?
Hear what I've got to say.
What you got to say?
Quite a lot.
About what?
Everything.
In particular...
I think I
Who the heck's it, Stephen Dorrell? Stephen Dorrell's a Tory.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
He's a Tory.
Well, that's Neil from Manchester said that.
Neil from Manchester. Have you got? I mean, I'm sitting here. It's definitely Milburn, isn't it?
Well, he won't know that bloke.
He's mad. He's spoken to him already.
Who?
Him I just
Stephen
spoke
Dorrell.
to. Stephen Dorrell's a Tory.
One of those will know. Go on, just we'll get it. Next one we'll get it.
Hello, Health Secretary name check hotline.
Hi, it's Mark on the M6. I think it's Alistair Darling.
No, he's the Social Security Secretary.
Is he?
He is. So there we go. It's not him. Hello, Talk Radio.
Hello,
Health Secretary hotline.
is that Ian Collins?
Speaking.
Hello there, it's Teresa from Battersea.
Hello.
Hello, I haven't been listening tonight, so I don't know what you've been talking
Want to
about.
have my babies, don't you?
Ha ha ha.
You little thing.
I've got enough, thanks.
How many you got?
3.
Oh, my life. You don't want
Right.
babies. You want operations.
I'm going to start up the Mother's Party.
But what's the name of the Health Secretary?
The Health Secretary, well, it was Frank Dobson,
Yep.
and it's now...
It's someone Milburn, isn't it?
I've no idea.
That's what I mean. This man
I know
is
the
just...
gay fella's gone to Northern Ireland.
Allegedly and all that.
God knows how he's going to get on, but we'll see.
Yeah.
Right.
Hang on, can you stay there a sec?
Yeah.
Don't go away. The gay fella's gone to Northern Ireland. That's great. Loads in there. Health Secretary hotline.
Yeah, it's Arthur Mullard.
Arthur Mullard.
Yeah, that's the Health Secretary.
That's the one.
That's him.
Thank you very
Hey.
much. Hey, beautiful. Arthur Mullard. We knew we got it in there. Milburn. It's definitely Milburn. Definitely Milburn. Is it Alistair Milburn? No, it's not Alistair. Hello?
Hi, mate. It's Neil from Manchester.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Stephen...
Yeah,
you said
Stephen
Stephen
Dorrell.
Dorrell. Yeah, it's not Stephen Dorrell.
I don't know. He's got to be the shadow there, hasn't he? He's got to be the shadow, hasn't he?
Probably.
Good show, guys. Pass it on, yeah. Top
Good on
top.
you, Neil.
Busy.
Take it easy. I'll tell you what, coked up to his eyeballs, I'm telling you. Health Secretary name check hotline.
Yeah, hi there, it's Alan Milburn.
Alan Milburn, that's the one.
I think it probably is.
It's Alan Milburn.
successful broadcast.
Fantastic.
Cheers.
Good on you. Hey, it's Alan Milburn, everybody. But wasn't the point just proven there, really? Because, you know, the fact is, you know...
You couldn't have proved it better than that, could you?
Absolutely.
Really?
You know,
Had the whole nation on it.
The one thing is, it's like really weird. I mean, I've always been kind of like reasonable at being able to remember the names of these people in government or the ones in opposition. And like this Labour thing has like thrown me, that last reshuffle.
Yeah, there was loads and loads of changes, weren't there?
All over the place. You don't know what's going on. Alan Milburn, that's the one.
No, but the Tory, yeah, I have more difficulty with the Tory, actually.
Yeah, that
Tories.
has got a bit difficult these days. That's got a bit difficult. Stephen Dorrell was Health Secretary in government for a time. But they all had a bit of a go at that one, you know? All had a bit of a go. Right, what are we doing here?
What's the best one to have down after the Home Secretary is the best one to probably the best one, right?
Best job?
In the cabinet.
Chancellor.
Yeah. But bar
After
the
that.
Chancellor, yeah, because the...
Yeah, Prime Minister, Chancellor, probably Home Secretary and Foreign Secretary.
Yeah. And then what?
Health Secretary.
What's the really rubbishy one that no one wants? Agriculture.
Yeah, agriculture. But then again, you know, I was saying this yesterday with Myth. It's funny though, isn't it? Because they all... you watch the cabinet, it's like a soap opera. You know, when every character has their moment.
Yeah.
Like, and the agriculture dude, old Nick Brown, you know, who's like big news. He's on everything at the moment, you know, because of the beef thing. You know, and who would have thought that, you know, crappy old gig would have ever, you know, given you such a profile?
It was Cunningham, wasn't it?
Was it? Jack Cunningham did it, yeah. He's had a go at it. They've all had a bit of a go. But of course, the dream gig, in a funny way, is old Chris Smith, isn't it? At the Heritage, because you get to see everything.
Culture.
Every sporting event, every music event,
That's
every
the best,
theatrical event. I'm
all
sorry.
the arts.
You might have I know there's an administrative side to it, but at the end of the day, blimey, I mean, there's got to be, you know, some pluses there. Big time. Right, don't go away, Craig. With you in a second. I think we've got a fax machine problem here, actually, but we're going to try and sort that out. Chris is in Warminster. He's been hanging on for an age.
Yeah, I've been hanging on for more than an age.
What you got for us, Chris?
Okay, I'm looking at a paper now, November the 1st. Can I give you the name of the paper?
Yeah, well, tell us tell us the story.
It's called Mind, Body, Spirit. This is an article they've written in this paper, and I've listened to your program, and I do listen to your program religiously. And the lady who has written this article, I must turn over the page, has got it all wrong.
What wrong?
Well, she's written an article called Mind, Body and Spirit.
Uh-huh.
Off the air, I'll give you her name.
Okay.
And I've looked and read this article. It's like, well, it doesn't even exist. Anyway, Ian...
Well, I don't even know what you're talking about, actually, Chris. I'm sorry.
Right. We have Get a Grip on Inner Energy. That is her headline.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's produced in the national paper.
Uh-huh.
And she's got the whole thing backside forwards.
But what's it about?
It's about Tweener.
Tuna?
Tweener. Yeah. It's about a massage therapy, which
All right.
it's the only therapy which is a recognised healing system within its own right. And she's got it all wrong.
So she's saying it works or it doesn't work?
She's saying it's good. When we get off air, I'll give you her name.
And do you think it's good?
I've been practicing within that realm since '69.
And so it is good?
But she totally misrepresented the whole system.
So what is Tweener?
Tweener. Heaping and grouping. Tweener. Pulling and pushing.
Okay.
It's that simple. If you want to translate it, that is how simple it is.
Yeah. And what is it? How does it work then? What happens to the body when you do it?
You can take certain energies from the body and replace them, or rechannel the various energies.
Right.
I know that I listened to your program over many, many years.
Uh-huh.
You're a good guy. By the way, you don't take any shit.
Good
and
stuff.
I will put that over the air now. You listen, and you will condense.
I'm always interested in this kind of stuff as well.
Right. Can we take us off the air and put me back to your guy that answers the phone?
Okay, Pete, if you can take the detail of Chris, he's got some stuff for you there. Right, there you go. Good on you, Chris. This comes from the fabulous Beck Boys. It seems to be one of only a handful of faxes through here. Dear Ian and Petey Woo, we thought you said that the top 5% of people in this country listen to your show. Don't people get what's going on? Listen, people, listen, they say. And their point is very, very relevant. There is no hope for this country. What with narrow-minded bozos who latch onto the one strand of thinking and have no argument, who call you up and try and mix it with you in big time. Please drop that in bomb now and get rid of all this in filth. Bunch of all we have... also, we have a new slogan for our muffins, the fabulous Baker Boy muffins. No muff is too tough. Sorry, no is too tough. P.S. Roger has lost it big time. Yeah, you see, that's the problem, and I can never... I know why I'm amazed every time we get that, like, a little complaining fraternity, because there's a number of questions that it raises. I guess one of the first ones is, like, what are they looking for? You know, what do these people want? What do they actually want? What do they gain from that, like, rather minor complaint? Why don't they put that energy into, like, saving battered whippets or something, you know? But it's just kind of, you know, it's almost like by ringing up, by picking up the phone, the actual physical act of picking it up, saying, nyeh, 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 off air this is, you know, and then slamming it down again to poor old Pete, which is like the rudest thing. And that's because that's the bit I never get. You know, they're complaining about somebody or something being rude, and then they deal with that by slamming the phone down. And it's almost like that simple act is it. Their life is complete for that moment. That's another. They'll dine out on that story, these sad old for the next 5 years. You know, that'll be everything. It'll be down the pop-in centre, down the bingo hall, down the varicose veins clinic. You know, these people will be doing it big time. They'll be talking about it to, I rang him up on the radio. I told him on the radio. It's the kind of person you can imagine. You know, like when you meet a mad person in the street and you're really freaked out by it, and they come up to you and they go, and this is just an example, but this is, Pete, I can actually see this. I can see how it works now. The person that just moves at you in the street goes, I told him on the radio. I told him on the radio. That's the person that phones you.
Yeah.
You know, like the day before.
You don't think of it like that, yeah?
No, that's how it comes out. But then you get the really kind of nasty ones, like that bloke that called earlier, who kind of. But this is the absolute
very
worst,
clinical.
The worst side of human nature. This is the absolute worst. As an anthropologist and as a sociologist and as a psychologist, I happen to know this. It's just it's the worst side of human nature because it's that very calm kind of clinical side. But and this is the problem. People don't want to be proved wrong. Like he rang up and I said, so it's useless me telling you otherwise. Because and he said, that's right, it's useless. I have my opinion. So why did he call? That's the kind of person that goes home and, you know, chops up the next door neighbour and puts them in the drain system. You know what I mean? It's that sort of mentality. And everyone says he was such a calm bloke.
Yeah.
And it's like...
Scary.
So why does somebody call if they don't actually want to be convicted? You know, surely... If you heard somebody say something, you thought, that wasn't what I thought was, you know, in my opinion, that's not very good. Wouldn't you want to ring that person up and say, yeah, I might have got this wrong, but no, that's none of that, you know. Everything you teach kids, you know, you would tell a kid, it's like, that's gone, you know, that's all out the window now. Oh, no, what you do, you know, imagine telling your 8-year-old that. When you grow up, right, here's what you do. When you hear somebody say something, doesn't matter how wrong you think you've got it, just straight away charge into them verbally with as much vitriol and nastiness as you possibly can. Imagine saying that to a kid. You simply wouldn't do. But, like, after a certain age, it's like, that's forgotten. I'm just going to be a nasty old and just ring people up and don't ever want to be convinced that it was the other way round.
Well, you're on the radio, you see, so it's fair game.
That's exactly what it is, you see, on the radio, and therefore, and then the minute we get, you know, and my entire quest is to take the media thing off its pedestal that the public put it on, not anybody else. It's like half of you bozos put the media and the showbiz thing up there, which is why all those magazines and all those tacky old TV shows are popular, because people watch them and they love them. And because you put it up there, you lump it all in the same thing, you know. So half of you, I'm no different to EastEnders, you know. It's like the voice of the common man, EastEnders. It's all showbiz, it's all media. And you put me up there and you think, well, that's okay. And the minute we can get to the point where it ain't that important being on the radio, and it shouldn't really matter. But that's always the attack that's used, isn't it? It's like, because you're on the radio, you shouldn't say it. You don't go up to a bloke in a pub and say, because you're in a pub, you shouldn't say it. That doesn't happen. You know, why? Because you're on the radio. Because the vulnerable people are listening. And you're on the radio, you have responsibility. Oh, balls to all of that. Yes, I have to follow a set of guidelines. Agreed. And there's a percentage of those guidelines that may well be absolutely spot on, you know. I might support the laws of libel. Sometimes they go too far. I understand the kind of things that I simply wouldn't want to come out of my mouth. But, half the time, I simply don't get that. You're not allowed to say that because you're on the radio. And it's never the person ringing that's going to be offended. It's always someone else. I'm complaining. It doesn't affect me, but it might affect someone else. It's always that old claptrap. What's up with you people? Get yourself a life. I'm telling you, I'm gonna become what should I become, Pete? I've got to think of something here that I'm going to go and do.
Why? Isn't it enough being isn't it enough being voice of the common man?
Well, it's all right.
You just got no, you know. I mean, you are voice of the common man. Isn't that enough? You want more?
It's not really a case of wanting more, but sometimes You just wish people would off and, let you get on with it.
Yeah, no, I know what you mean.
Anyway, don't go away, Craig. Stay there. 08700 40 50 60.
Introducing from Australia, Bram Presser of the Sunraysia Natural Beverage Company.
If you've never met Australia's pressers, pretty soon you'll get your chance, because they're bringing prune juice to England, and it doesn't come from France. You'll meet my grandma Ruby. You'll meet my dad called Dan. In Australia, where we come from, he's called the Sunraysia Man. No matter where you live in Scotland, no matter where you live in Wales, you'll learn all about Sunraysia prune juice from our family's fairy tales. Now, from the land down under, from the land of kangaroos, Sunraysia brings Sunraysia prune juice, which is most exciting news.
A 250ml serving of Sunraysia prune juice is an excellent source of the antioxidant vitamin C and dietary fibre. Bringing Sunraysia prune juice from our Australian family to your family. Because at Sunraysia, we care about family values. Sunraysia prune juice, with the tamper-evident safety seal, is always bottled in glass to maintain its quality of freshness. Sunraysia is now available from selected Sainsbury's stores.
Jungle.com, the best place to buy computer products online. Not only are our prices driving competitors nuts, but we also tell you more about the products you need. Visit Jungle.com.
To be or not to be, that is, of course, hey. Here at Time to Insure, we love beating quotes.
We are not amused. God, blimey.
So call 0800 028 2221 with your best quote for motor insurance, and we'll do our best to beat it. It's Time to Insure with Time to Insure. Call 0800 028 2221.
They do a full range of sizes for everyone.
Oh, Marks and Spencer's.
They've got a friends and family scheme.
Oh, it's British Telecom.
And an unbeatable 2-for-1 offer.
Oh, it must be Boots.
No, Nick, it's the Big Boys Breakfast this morning from 6 on TalkRadio, your station for sport, news and views.
Your big boys are never knowingly undersold. Track 4. It's called Roger from Bristol.
It's a corker.
It's the Right Reverend Alan Blizzard and the Myths. And if you go to the website, you can get detail about it. It's
Voice of the Common Man.
.com. Get in there and have a look, and there's detail aplenty. Okay, Craig in Belfast.
Hello.
Yeah, Craig, what you got for us?
Well, I'm a medium, and I've had some experience in the last couple of days which tell me that the end of the world is coming.
You're a medium?
Yes, I've had some experience. I'll tell you what actually happened.
Yeah.
I was walking along, and I heard some voices. And I thought that they could be like just normal people speaking behind me. But they actually seem to appear to be with me.
Oh, yeah. So you only just become a medium, then?
Yes.
In the last 2 days?
Well, I've been reading up on it.
Yeah.
Because of the experience, it's been so quickly, it's been rapidly building up.
So how do you know you're a medium and not like a psychic or a...
Well, that's what I'm trying to say. I'm having psychic experiences.
Oh, yeah.
And they're like pictures of the world ending.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, when do you think that's going to happen?
Well, it could be... As you know about dreams, you know when you have a dream, it's like a deja vu sometimes.
Yeah.
And it seems like it could happen in the next couple of weeks. And
So you're predicting the end of the world in the next couple of weeks?
No, I'm not saying the next couple of weeks. I'm saying the next probably 6 months.
Oh, right, well, that's all right. I thought for a second it was going to come up soon. So it's the next 6 months.
6 months, definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely.
The end of the
months.
world.
Yeah, because what happens with dreams? I've been reading up on it. They occur within a certain amount of time. Time you have.
Yeah.
And I've been dreaming that there'd be another Holocaust.
Really?
Yeah.
So where do you think this is going to go off from?
England.
From England?
Yeah, because the pictures very vivid, like the countryside.
So it's going to start in England?
Yes.
And become a world war?
Yes.
Right. So our government are going to fire something at another country, or someone's going to fire it at us?
No, I'd say it would start off with a certain group. It starts off with a certain group, which will start off a sequence of events.
Right.
To end the end.
Yeah. Listen, stay there a sec, Craig.
Okay.
Don't go away, because I want to come back. It's fascinating stuff. Craig's just discovered he's kind of psychic and amazing, really. Eric's on the M6. Eric.
Hello.
Good morning.
Good morning. I'd like to talk about the arrogance in which you treat some of the people who call in. It's like sort of people pick up the phone to phone you.
Yeah.
Not out of like sort of, oh, this is great, I'm talking to somebody on the radio. It's the fact of like sort of, it affects some people's lives. Some people actually do live through the night, and like sort of some things that you say do affect people, so they get the thing to get off their ass.
Well, what are you referring to?
I'm referring to like sort of the fellow who was saying about what you were saying before when you went off on your rant.
Oh, that rude man.
Oh, yes. Well, I was listening to the rant as well, and I didn't hear at the start you saying about being shocked, Jock. I
Yeah.
did hear at the end.
Yeah, well, that's
I
what
heard that you referred to it at the end. And when you was actually saying what you were saying, I was quite shocked.
Well, you know, that was the point, yeah.
Yeah.
So that,
when you got
yeah,
to the end,
which was
like,
good.
sort of talk about
Yeah.
deaf people listening to you who
Yeah,
can't...
he was just a very nasty man, the kind of person that slaughters his neighbours, I think.
No, that's not very nice, is it?
Well,
Oh,
it's-
come on. It's like sort of, you can't say that about people, but just because like sort of they've got a different opinion to yourself.
Well, you see, but that's all I'm doing is kind of highlighting the point that he made. When you heard him call up, he didn't want to believe that he got me wrong. There was nothing I could have said. I could have talked to him, Eric, for another 5 hours, and nothing would have changed his opinion.
You said before, though, about being psychologist and all this stuff, yeah? And if you're all them kind of things, speaking to somebody for a matter of 30 seconds, you can't really get a full picture of them, can you?
What? And he can't get one of me, you know, for that matter.
No. But you're on the radio every night, or 5 nights a week,
Yeah.
right? So we can kind of get a picture of you.
Yeah, but
You
he
know,
was...
like I'm a wagon driver.
Yeah.
Drive down the road, I listen to your show. So, some of it's entertaining, some of it is quite, like, sort of, well, I could pick my phone up and phone, yeah?
Yeah.
Right? But, like, sort of, some of it, like, sort of, it's just, like...
Hang on, Eric. Eric, you're cracking up a bit there, mate.
Oh, that's like, sort of natural.
That's the mobile one. Yeah, I mean, no, his point, his tone. What I mean, the reason I picked up on his point was because I've seen 1,000 of them since I've done this job. Every now and again, one will crawl out the woodwork, and they'll come on, not wondering if they got it wrong, not wondering if they misheard, or not wondering if perhaps you didn't mean what you said. And he actually said to me in straight tones, I said, "There's nothing I can do to convince you," and he said, No, there's not. I have my opinion, and that's it. Now, would you bring a kid up with that view, Eric? I mean, of course you would.
Not at all, but I wouldn't either if I've got, like, sort of 4 children. If one of my children said something to me, I wouldn't go off on a rant and call them stupid, pathetic lunatics, because really, at the end of the day, we are your flock.
Well, I wasn't calling him a lunatic. I was actually referring to the original people that rang up off air and to talk about rudeness, and then put the phone down on poor old Pete, who'd done nothing wrong at all.
Oh, bad enough.
But then again, I think that's a psychotic thing. That's slightly different.
All right. Well, say that if you go off on a rant, and at the start of it, if you'd have said at the start, which I don't believe you did, if you'd have said at the start, This is what a shock jock would say.
What do you mean you don't believe what do you mean you don't believe I did if you didn't hear it?
Well, I heard the full thing, but it's like if you've got a tape of it...
No, but hang on a second, hang on. You've just done exactly what I'm talking about. You just said, I don't believe you did.
I don't believe that you did at the start. At the end, I heard
But you just said you didn't hear the start.
I heard all of it, but I never heard you say at the start, this is what Shock Jock would say.
No, at the very
Well, you
beginning,
said at the
very beginning, we did a whole, 60-second spiel.
Oh, yes, I heard all of that.
No, about how maybe we should be shock jocks, and this is, that's exactly why we started talking about it.
Oh, well, I heard all of it, and I can't remember it at my bit. I'm sorry if I missed it, but I thought I heard it all.
All right, well, we might just play that for your benefit, Eric.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. Cheers. Okay, there you are. There's another one, you see. I don't believe you did that, actually.
This is uncanny. I mean, can people prove our point much more?
I know.
So that is exactly what that...
I know. It's nuts, mate. It's nuts. Right, I'm going to come back to Craig in a minute, because he's got predictions about the world ending, but I must just go to Teresa in Battersea. Teresa!
Hello there.
Go for it.
Right. I'm going to start a party called the Mother's Party.
The Mother's Party?
Yes. Right. I believe that the female and male psyche is biological. Right?
Right.
The male go forth and sow their seed.
Yes.
And the female determine the quality of the human race.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
Fact. Right. 2 males can't have babies.
No.
2 females can't have babies.
No.
Right. Full stop.
Yes.
And the women of this country, the mothers, don't care what goes on. They should, and they've got to start standing up for the children of this country.
Yes.
Right? Embryo research, all that sort of thing.
Yeah.
Right? Mothers have got to start. The education of the children in this country, it's down to your mum.
Agreed.
Your mum goes down to school and calls the teacher up.
Mums do it better.
Yeah, you've got to go and get your mum.
Totally. Without any shadow of a doubt. You've got to get your mum. Always. 08700 40 50 60. Don't go away.
TalkRadio News.
Germany agrees it's good to talk. Big profits expected for rail track and joy and tears in Europe. Good morning, it's 4 o'clock. I'm Nick Hull. Germany says it wants to hold fresh discussions about the safety of British beef. Germany, which also has yet to lift the beef ban, says calming consumer fears is its main concern. Meanwhile, France has been given 2 weeks by the EU to lift its ban or face legal action. Railtrack is this morning expected to announce big profits of more than £1 million a day. The company's been under pressure to allocate more money to safety improvements since the Paddington rail crash, in which 31 people died. The House of Lords is again threatening to reject the government's plans to curb disability benefits in the Welfare and Pensions and Reform Bill. Last night, the government managed to overturn a series of Lords' amendments despite a backbench revolt by more than 50 of its own MPs. The Labour peer, Lord Ashley, is planning to reintroduce the same amendments today, and he's predicting another government defeat in the Lords.
In the House of Lords, I believe that the concessions by the government will be utterly inadequate, and I think the government's proposals will be defeated.
Taxes in Britain are going up faster than anywhere else in Europe, according to an influential new report. A survey for the Organisation for Economic Cooperation and Development shows the UK's tax burden leapt by more than 6% in the first full year of the Labour government. One ticket holder scooped the midweek national lottery jackpot worth £3.9 million. The lucky winner matched numbers 22, 37, 31, 35, 25 and 3. Talk Radio Sport. Chelsea joined Manchester United in tomorrow's draw for the next stage of the Champions League after beating Hertha Berlin 2-0 last night. Rangers joined Arsenal in the UEFA Cup after losing 1-0 away to Bayern Munich. Tonight, Leeds, Spurs, Newcastle, West Ham and Celtic will try to book their place in the third round of the UEFA Cup. England and Scotland name their squads later for those Euro 2000 playoffs, and Blackburn start their search for a new manager after sacking Brian Kidd. Those are the top stories from the Sky News Centre. Talk Radio weather. Dry with sunny intervals and some mist or fog at first in southern and eastern England and South Wales. Wet and windy in Northern Ireland and Scotland, spreading to the rest of the UK later. The high is 16 Celsius, 61 Fahrenheit on the Isle of Wight, 14 Celsius, 57 Fahrenheit on the Isle of Skye. Talk Radio News time, it's 2 minutes past 4.
Every night that I was driving around in my car, I was scanning every airway for a radio star. But all I found were voices with the same repertoire, till I stumbled on a show that was so dissimilar. Ian Collins, Ian Collins, Ian Collins, Ian
Voice of the common man. Voice of the common man. Voice of the common man.
Good morning. Good morning.
Voice of the common man. It's a bad, bad book.
With me. With me.
Good morning.
Voice of the common man. Voice of the common man.
I'm Andy the Beaver.
Okay, it's Ian Collins and the Creatures of the Night. I don't understand what's going on here.
Isn't that bizarre?
Ian Collins on the new Talk Radio.
Thank you to Dermot, who asks the oldest question in the world, why do men have nipples? But we've only had that 4,000 times. But there is a reason.
Why do men have nipples? I thought it was quite original, actually.
Did you?
Yeah.
You never heard that before?
No.
That's like our most common asked question.
Is it?
That's on the... What's the other one? There's another... you know when you do quirky questions? There's another one of those...
So come on then, why do men have nipples?
Well, I think it's all to do with the fact that when you're fetal...
Yeah.
You could be male or female. Your gender is not set at that point.
So they stick the nipples in just in case?
The nipples are there at the very beginning, and then they either grow to... well, they don't obviously grow to like a 36B when you're in there, but they, it's one or the other.
Yeah.
And apparently men can lactate.
They can do what?
Lactate.
Oh, right.
Give milk.
Yeah, yeah.
Well,
Well, can they?
Yeah.
When can they do that?
I don't know if it's out of, like, sympathy during pregnancy or when it actually occurs, but a man can apparently give milk.
What, during his partner's pregnancy?
Or at some point. Can somebody explain the lactating male syndrome, please? LMS, it's known as.
Wow, that's quite amazing. I didn't know that. You dropped that in there quite nonchalantly.
I did, yeah.
Men can give milk.
You can have a squirt up at certain times. I don't know how it happens, whether it's sort of like a male menopause thing. I don't know when it occurs, but apparently it does.
Blimey, O'Reilly.
Who was it who was talking to that we lost? Was it Craig?
Yeah, it was Craig. That was my fault. I'm
sorry, Craig. We cut you off. We were meant to carry on that conversation because he thinks the world's going to end. And it was pretty damn sure about it. He'd had, like, psychic dreams that there was going to be a nuclear holocaust take place in this country in the next 6 months.
Give us a call back, Craig.
Give us a call back, because we'd like to continue your chimwag. Alan Milburn is the health secretary, everybody, by the way.
Alan Milburn is the man.
Alan Milburn is the man. He is the man. Oh, yeah. Mr. M, we got the Soul to Soul video. We got that. Don't know what that one is. Dreamcast. I think that was the one about the cancer thing. But it's come through on a really funny, almost hardly readable sort of format. From Crash Override, who says, Mick and the rest, and Ian. Could you... Who's Mick? Who the heck's Mick? Please could you read out my email on the air? Anyone with any net experience would know that a message board is not live, so why they would think that if they type the thing in it will appear is beyond me. Well, it will appear, won't it?
It does actually come up quite quickly after you typed in the message, doesn't it? I think.
I thought
it's not live, but...
Yeah. I don't know. Anyway, you want to bell us up? Bell us up now. It's 08700 40 50 60, whatever it is you want to sling into the show, then do so. A whole kind of variety of stuff going on here. A plethora, I would say, of info and things and bits and pieces. Everything from miraculous recoveries. We've had nobody, unfortunately, call us. It's always the way, isn't it? So somebody calls us to say, you're abnormal, you're disgusting, you're horrible, you should be sacked. But, you know, you do a thing about people recovering from near death, and nobody gets on the blower and tells you their story, but there you go. And it wasn't just a case of, you know, coming round and surviving against the odds. We were talking about people who've applied, like, mental thought to the idea of getting through something that the odds were stacked against them. Medically, they were, you know, going nowhere, diagnosed as, you know, that you're never going to survive, terminally ill, whatever. And you either used something or you applied something yourself. And I guess it sort of partly comes under the umbrella of alternative medicine. Anything that's not conventional, I suppose, is alternative by definition, but not always in the sense of, you know, sniffing a couple of old herbs. You might have gone through the internet and purchased one of those amazing cancer-curing products that supposedly will sort out all your ailments. A lot of them, I get the impression that a lot of them are really kind of detoxifying compounds that arguably you could kind of get through other methods. If you detox your body and your lymph system is kind of cleared out nicely, then I guess your survival rate will be higher, albeit that rate, you know, tiny. But I'm assuming, you know, without knowing much about medicine, that would be the case. It could be the difference of, you know, living an extra 2 days or something, and therefore you wouldn't necessarily know that it had worked, but you know what I'm saying. So if you've been through any of that and, like, checked out any of those systems, any of those kind of formulae, then I'd like to hear the story. But it might be a tall order. It might be a tall order to ask. The intellectual temperature of this show, I know, gets a little bit hot from some people, so much so you have to wear asbestos hearing gear when listening. Anyway, Gareth in Manchester says, I last faxed you when I started my A-levels. Could you ask Zero Cool if he's a hacker, as he seems to have stolen his handle from the film Hackers? Right, yeah, he might have done. I have a friend whose family is claiming all the benefits under the sun, and therefore, it's not how you spell therefore, by the way, therefore they're able to redo their houses to a higher standard than we are, with both my parents working and claiming child allowance for my 2 sisters. If the benefits are so easy to claim, it should be reformed. PPS, could you please put me in contact with Zero Cool, as I would like to talk to him or her? Well, what do you think we are, a dating agency? How can we do that?
What the heck is that all about?
How the hell will we do that?
Zero Cool?
Well, Zero Cool's a faxer, emailer.
Yeah, I know, but, you know, I mean, we just can't be doing that sort of thing.
But I don't know how we would do it.
Well, yeah. I could go into reception and send a fax to Zero Cool. Ask him to fax us back.
We don't know Zero Cool's... Do you know Zero Cool's fax number, then?
Well, wouldn't it... Yeah. Might be on the top of his little fax.
Oh, I see, yeah.
But I don't think we should do that.
No. James Porteous, everybody, says, I've listened to the show since the very first episode and obviously love it. I write for the Uni Rag, that's the Glasgow University Guardian, which is actually quite good, and would love to garner you some publicity. Do you fancy doing a quick interview over the phone or by email? If not, fair enough. But I'll do a feature anyway if you or Pete can send me some info. James, we would be only too happy if you send us a bunch of questions. We'll answer them. You know, do it on the email, that's fine. That's no problem. No trouble at all. Okay, so stick around. I hope you're still listening, James, because that came through, like, earlier on. But, yeah, it'd be a pleasure. Just send us your questions and we'll do it. Right, lines are open, 08700 40 50 60. More emails, faxes and calls from you.
Join us this morning from 5 on Talk Radio for Bloomberg on the Money in association with UKInvest.com, when we preview interest rate decisions from the Bank of England and the European Central Bank. That's Bloomberg on the Money in association with UKInvest.com, the Internet's premier financial news channel and guide to building your wealth.
Introducing from Australia, Dan Presser of the Sunraysia Natural Beverage Company.
You may have been to Paris, and you may have been to Rome, but have you been down under? It's a long, long way from home. Yet, you all know Aussie Sunshine, and you all know Aussie Sport. And now, Australian Sunraysia Prune Juice will soon be arriving at the port. So if your lifestyle is important, please put Sunraysia to the test. From Australia, clean and green, Sunraysia's the one that will impress. So when you do your weekly shopping, it's only natural to declare, I want my Sunraysia prune juice. So on the shelf, please be there. But if you cannot find Sunraysia, please be patient for a while, because your favourite supermarket will soon have Sunraysia prune juice in the aisle.
You can now find Sunraysia prune juice in the fruit juice aisle of selected Sainsbury's stores. 15 pence of your purchase price of Sunraysia's 1 litre prune juice is donated to the Cancer Research Campaign to support their vital cancer research and education. Remember what you heard.
You are, of course, absolutely right that there's nowhere better to launch a campaign than Talk Radio.
Remember where you heard it. Your station for sports, news and views. Talk Radio.
By the Reverend Alan Blizzard and the Mips. And if you want detail about that, then just go to the website, which is www.voiceofthecommonman.com, which is very weird.
It's a whole album dedicated to this very show.
To this very show.
Isn't it amazing?
To this very show. Even though it doesn't actually say that on the album. Anywhere at all.
We forgive you, Reverend.
But we forgive you, Reverend. But that's...
Bit of groovy guitar going on there.
Bit of groovy guitar there. By the way, coming up later on, one of those. It's a weird story special.
Oh, almost like we were in music radio then.
Wasn't it? Yay. That was great. Anyway, Les in Eltham says, since regular listeners will know that I am anti-Tory and anti-New Tory, you shouldn't be emphatically anti-anything, I've got to say, Les, because you never know, they might come up with something you agree with. They will probably be surprised to hear me standing up for the Lords, who have always had a Tory bias. Do we really want a second chamber? But do we really want a second chamber, which is just a rubber stamp for the government, like the House of Commons has become? No one should forget that it was the Lords who protected us from Howard's new bugging laws and Jack Straw's removal of trial by jury for some cases. To name but two examples, I favour the gridlock system used by the United States, where the Senate regularly stopped the president from carrying out his dirty deeds. Nowadays, it's all about who's for the New World Order and the Euro-rich Reich, and who's against. Hats off to the 50 Labour rebels. You can only be a good MP if you stand up against your own party when they're doing wrong. But they're not doing wrong, Les. They're doing absolutely fantastic business. The best thing that the Labour government have ever done is say we're going to means test people. And we're going to look at, everyone's individual circumstances before we just put a fat pile of money their way. Nothing wrong with that at all. They were complete dirrips who voted against him. House of Lords is a totally, utterly sound proposition. The idea that people want to get rid of it is just completely led by one or two left-wing, or maybe right-wing, journos who are hell-bent on this idea that it's undemocratic. The House of Lords standing on its own would be undemocratic. The House of Lords is part and parcel of an entire parliamentary system that is there to complement the Commons within policy making and to hold it within check. There is nothing wrong with the House of Lords. Ultimately, Parliament have the final say, as we've seen. And so, you know, people needn't get carried away that you have unelected old bods making rules and regulations, because they ain't doing that. That's not the point of it. And there is something, in fact, extremely logical about having, and if you look at the cross-section of the Lords in terms of the kind of people that are in there, I don't mean the individual personalities, we can argue over those, fair enough, but if you look at the idea that you do have people who come from what may be crudely or loosely called the kind of economic backbone of the country, then it's a great idea that you have the elected people, then you have the other people who aren't necessarily elected but would be in a good position to have a say in something. And they're selected anyway in the first place by the elected bods, who we supposedly trust to make decisions for us anyway. So there's something actually that works very, very well about it. And it's, you know, a back and forth system. It causes a pain, and things do get dropped as a result of them being there. It's just an entire media bandwagon that is saying, let's get rid of this. And Blair's only want to get rid of it is that at the moment it is stacked up with a bunch of Tories, and all he will do is stack it up with a bunch of Labour bods. It's just crazy. And that, you know, you think you've seen undemocratic systems going on with the House of Lords at the moment. You ain't seen nothing yet. You haven't seen a thing yet. 08700 40 50 60. Lots still to come, including this from Paul in Hounslow. Paul.
Hi there.
Hello.
Right, listen, in today's Times, there's a story about a guy who is suing his parents because he weighed 22 stone at the age of 12.
That's right, yeah.
And he's alleging that, you know, they fed him just chips every day.
That's the one, yep.
Yeah, and he lost the case because someone pulled out and didn't, you know, go for it. But
he lost the case, did he?
He lost the case because apparently there was somebody was on his side, and they pulled out at the last minute, and so he lost it. But the point I was trying to make is, I mean, why? I mean, surely if this cruel, surely they were good parents. They fed him every day.
Well, apparently his nickname was Fat Bastard or something.
Well, yeah, but I don't think that was what it was about. It was to do with, you know, the fact that he was 22 stone. That's what his objection was.
Well, that makes them not very good parents in my book.
Well, yeah, but they fed him every day.
Well, is that the only criteria? As long as they fed him, isn't there an issue about what they fed him?
Well, I mean, surely, food is food. I mean, you know, the fact that this kid blew up to 22 stone
is his parents' fault.
What is it?
Well, if they treated him as he has alleged, then yes. You don't feed a kid chips every day.
Yeah, fair enough, but personally I just think it was ridiculous, the whole thing.
Okay, much like that phone call. 08700 40 50 60. So much happening. So much happening. And almost, you know, I say it every time, such little time as well. It's a damn shame. Karen says, you probably won't read this after seeing my address. Oh, Arsenal. Anyway, your team put on a good show tonight. That was last night. Oh, yeah, well, yeah. I'm Karen, Lou's friend in London. Who's Lou? I heard you speaking to her last week. Oh, Lou, in Manchester. You just can't get enough, can you? What, like with Lou? I doubt it. Maybe you should get married. You never know. Take care, Ian. From Karen. Love the show. Good on you, Karen. Who's obviously an Arsenal fan. Who's Lou's friend in Manchester.
Oh,
I assume it's Lou in Manchester.
Maybe, yeah, I think you do need to get married.
Yeah, I do flirt with Lou, but I mean, there's no point in me flirting with Lou.
No, I mean, maybe it is time that you got married.
You think I should get married?
You are 33 now, you know?
28, all right, 28. 33, yeah. That's weird, yeah. I was kind of, if somebody said to me when I was 20, when I was 20 I was kind of dead anti-marriage because I was just naive and stupid. When I was 25, I would have actually thought I'd have been married by now.
Yeah.
I don't actually remember consciously deciding that, but if I'd have been asked, I'd have probably, will you or won't you? I'd have probably said, yeah, probably. But never did. I had a couple of opportunities to, but never have.
So the next barrier, you've got to be married by the time you're 40. Because after 40, then you really start getting worried.
I think if I'm going to get married, I would want to get married by then.
Yeah.
Because I would want to have kids, like in the next 12 months, actually.
Blimey, you want to keep your skates on, mate?
Well, it's not my skates I've got to get on, is it? Just want to get off, I think it's a problem. So the trouble is, because I don't want to actually be an old dad, you know?
Yeah.
I'm kind of only just.
Very trendy these days to be an old dad.
Yeah, well, and an old mum as well, you know, the average, for the first time ever, the average age for a woman to have a baby is 30.
That's old.
I read that yesterday.
Older than average, anyway.
And that's, unusual. So I guess, given the fact the guy is normally older, there's a little bit of that. What are you smirking at?
Maybe you should go to one of those singles bars.
Yeah, I think I might do that. I did get invited once to one of those. This was ages ago. One of those singles. They're not. It's not really a dating thing. Well, it can be if you want it to be. It's like sort of like events and functions. Dinner parties, and when everybody's there is single.
Those singles bars have just got to be like, you're just in. You just got to, all you got to do is turn up, haven't you? Really?
Well, you'd have thought so. Well, where are they then? I've never even heard of them.
They're all gagging for the same thing.
Well, I've heard of them, but I mean, what's the criteria?
Well, don't ask me. I'm not a singles bar expert.
Well, you mentioned it, not me. I mean, how do they know you're single?
No, I'll tell you why. Because I've seen it on a couple of TV. It's like a storyline on EastEnders, and it was on that Real Women thing as well.
But how do you get in the place? How do they know you're single? You go in there any old.
No, they do organised things in like clubs, don't they? In bars.
Yeah.
Organised singles nights.
Singles nights, yeah.
And you go in there and then take your pick. You could probably do quite well in there.
Because it's not just... Well, yeah, when you go to one of those things, you're not just establishing the fact that you're single. You're establishing the fact that you're single and you're looking for someone.
Yeah.
Otherwise you wouldn't be there.
And you probably haven't had it for ages and ages.
There is that. There is that as well. Yeah, I mean, there's maybe a possibility in there. I don't know. But
Think about it seriously.
I think I'm trying to now discover the... I mean, a friend of mine who's older than me says that she loves solitude and thrives on it, and every day, and she's single, and every day that she's on her own, she thanks God that she's on her own. And when she looks around and sees, although she knows a whole bunch of people who are in very happy relationships, her belief is that if you spread it out over a period of time, your overall happiness level, well, her overall happiness level is probably greater than most of the people she knows in relationships.
So she's got no intention. She's going to stay single quite happy to stay single for the rest of her life.
Well, if that's how she feels at the moment. I mean, it might change, but at the moment it's kind of like there is something about the solitude side that is like really very attractive.
But she's done the relationship thing, right?
Oh yeah, big time. Yeah, big time. But you're out of there is such a thing as if you can train your mind to believe that that's all right, and have perhaps a couple of situations on the go that you and those people are all aware of that's what you do.
Yeah.
Then there might be something in that.
Yeah,
there might be something in that.
I think the majority of people want to be in a relationship.
I would agree with you. But having said that, there is... there are times in a relationship when you think, I could really do in my own space. And you can't always have it at that moment when you want it.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, maybe as human beings we're all somewhere in there a little bit selfish.
Well, I think a lot of that going on.
Yeah, and I think that the majority of relationships stay together. No, not the majority of relationships. A lot of relationships stay together because there are kids involved. And that's why people stick together.
Yeah.
Not that they don't love each other. I mean, there's no probably quite happy. But if the question is, are you ultimately happy, then that maybe would require a rethink.
Yeah.
Anyway, it's 08700 40 50 60 if you want to talk to Dr. Collins.
OK, nurse, what have we got?
It's an insurance quote, Doctor. It's been badly beaten.
Oh, not another victim of Time to Insure.
I'm afraid so.
Here at Time to Insure, we love beating motor insurance quotes. So if you want cheaper motor insurance, call 0800 028 2221 and our experienced staff will try to beat your best quote black and blue. Call now and we'll even beat our own best quote by £10. Looking for cheaper motor insurance? It's Time to Insure with Time to Insure. Call 0800 028 2221 now.
I've got a real thing for those salesmen at the Vodafone store.
Buy direct from the #1 network at your local Vodafone store this Christmas and get the star treatment.
Remember what you heard.
It's you who's advocating putting more into the Opera House and...
No, it's actually it's not, Mr. Upson, I assure you.
And tennis courts in Surrey.
Yeah, Frank, honestly, could we have them in Kent? That's where I live.
Remember where you heard it. Your station for sports news and views. Talk Radio.
DJ Clash. When you get to DJ Clash, there can only be one boss. Ian Collins versus Chris Boyles uptown tonight, yo. DJ Clash.
Slightly experimental, almost.
Sounds like people would experiment while listening to this. It's got that kind of mellowy, sort of like reggae thingy going on.
You're right.
It is it's Ian Collins versus Crispy Boyles.
DJ Clash.
DJ Clash.
Track 5.
5.
On the Creatures album, which is called The Myths.
The Myths. By the fantastic Reverend Alan Blizzard. He's a top man.
He is.
So there you go. That's... Not the penultimate one. We're going to play a couple more.
Yeah, get 2 more in.
Before the end of the news.
Lovely.
So there you go. Also, weird stories on its way. Judith says, lactating men... Pete, you learned something here, you bozo.
Okay.
Hormone levels are controlled by our livers.
All right.
There you go there?
I didn't know that.
Of course you didn't.
No, I didn't know
You're
that.
19.
I
You're
didn't
stupid.
know that. I didn't have a clue.
If our livers fail to function properly due to ill health or malnutrition, then the balance can be upset.
Breasts.
You grow breasts?
Yeah.
Well, you can grow breasts. Men do grow breasts sometimes.
And it's all to do with the liver.
Well, prisoners of war who were starving or suffered a reduced liver function found they were producing milk because their hormone cocktail had been upset.
Ooh. Ooh, ah.
So there you go. It can happen.
So all to do with the liver, then?
All to do with the liver.
Can you imagine that? That'd be a bit creepy, wouldn't it, eh?
Yeah.
If your old nips start leaking.
That's right. But like particularly the wrong moment.
I'd have to start asking serious questions, yeah. That'd be terrible. Yeah, at the wrong moment as well, yeah.
That would be the worst thing.
Can you imagine that? Right in the middle of, yeah. Oh,
The
man.
wrong session.
Too much.
Jeet, who's 17 and from London, says, hello, Wavy Lines Collins and Pop-Up Pete. That's it. See, I told you. It's happening already. Wavy Lines Collins. I'm
Lucian Morgan.
You are, and you're a prawn, mate. You're never coming on this show again, you great big jester. Pansying it up with your psychic experiments last Friday. What the...
I'm Lucian Morgan.
You're Lucian Morgan and you're Mr. Jerky Cough. That's what you are.
The UFOs.
Yes, the UFO. I'll give you UFO. Ghouls to you too. Ghosts to you too. Who are you? Who are you?
I'm Lucian Morgan.
Yeah, and what do you talk about?
UFOs.
UFOs and?
Ghouls.
And?
Ghosts.
Yes? You think that's clever, do you? We know who you are. 08700 40 50 60. That bozo, wrecked my entire image. Wrecked my entire image with his duff
It was a very embarrassing moment, wasn't it, really?
It
I mean,
was.
It was comedy, but it was very embarrassing.
It's all very well him coming on talking about...
UFOs.
Ghouls. Or
ghosts.
That kind of stuff. But all the rest of it, we're thinking...
Talk radio.
What? What's that about?
That's something in preparation.
Is it?
Radio. Talk radio.
Talk radio.
Talk radio.
Talk radio.
Talk radio.
Talk radio. Talk radio.
Is that yours?
Yeah, I'll make something up out of that.
That's great.
Name the presenter.
Oh yeah. Hang on.
Name the presenter. Hang on a minute. There you go.
Right. So, yeah, we can do this really well. We can say, and coming up on Talk Radio, it's The Breakfast Show with David Banks.
Talk radio.
And Nick Ferrari.
Talk radio.
Followed by Degsy at 9 o'clock.
Talk radio.
Followed by Anna at midday.
Talk radio.
Followed by Tony Lockwood.
Talk radio.
Followed by Tom Watts.
Talk radio.
And at the weekend, Mike Dickin.
Talk radio.
There you go.
Cool.
That's really, really good.
Isn't that great?
Yeah, I like that a lot.
I'm Lucian.
Go away.
Telepathy, I'll tell you.
Telepathy, you see? So exactly the same. Anyway, Gene says I've got a topic for the golden issue. What job goes unnoticed but pays a lot? An example is a barber who gets 10 quid for 5 minutes. I hope they don't... 5 minutes? It is about a tenner, you're right. I mean, the haircut is like ludicrous state of affairs. But it's... I still think the black cab driver is like a bit of a gig. I still think that is. I mean, sometimes I can see the kind of mellow side of it. I don't know if I want to do it. Because, like, you got to talk to so many, weirdos. And I kind of have that already in my job. So why I'd want to, compound that. It's 08700 40 50 60. 08700 40 50 60. Lines are open. Let's go to Roger, who's in... Are you in Southall, Rog?
That's right, yeah.
How you doing, mate? All right?
I'm all right, yeah.
Yeah, what do you got for us?
Look, right. I've been in Southall 4 years.
Yep.
Right. Now, Southall was like, a white community till about 30 years ago. Right?
Yeah, that'd be about right, yeah.
Yeah. Now, all of a sudden you've got an influx of Eurasians, and I've been in this area 40 years. It was a beautiful area. And now, this weekend, you've got Diwali. You've got your religious festival.
That's why your fireworks are going on.
For 3 days, right? I've got 3 days of solid nightmare because I can't sleep.
Yeah.
It's like a nightmare.
Yeah.
And, I've been in the war. Why have I got to put up with this? I didn't ask for these people to come, and yet I've got to have 3 days where I'm not going to get any sleep. I can't get in my car. The streets are packed.
Yeah.
It's just ridiculous. Why is that?
So are you adverse to any kind of festival that mucks up your...
No, I mean, for example, what I don't understand is, like, you've got your gay rights, and they all go through London, right?
Yeah.
They're marches, which is fair enough.
Yeah.
They don't disturb people, they do it during the day, there's no problem with it.
Yeah.
My objection is to the fact that this community in this area, right, it's like a separate sort of country, where they have these festivals for 3 days. My life is turned upside down, as is everyone else's, and, it's like, well, this is England, right? So why...
So are you adverse to the people of other cultures living there, or are you adverse to them practicing their religion?
Well, I'm averse to them, I suppose, being there when, this is an English country with English rules and laws, and they do cater for your ethnics, but, my point being is that it's too unrestricted in this area. Like, you've got your gay rights, they go through London, they do the march, and that's over. Fine. Everyone's happy. They get their say, but, 3 days of this kind of stuff going on is a nightmare for your average man that's lived here, pay rates and all the rest of it.
Yeah.
It's just,
So it's only 3 days, out of 365, isn't it? So.
Yeah, well, it is, but, I mean, come on. Would you like to live in that situation where for 3 days,
Well, I do live in that
you don't know anything about, the noise level is just ridiculous. It's like...
I mean, I do live in that situation, so I know what you're talking about.
You do? Yeah. Understand. How come? Where do you live?
In Mile End.
Mile End?
Yeah.
Well, what happens around there for 3, 4 days or 5 days?
Quite a lot.
Yeah, but...
A lot of fireworks, that's for sure.
What, Diwali?
Yeah.
And it goes on all the time?
Yeah. Well, no,
it's not just me bloody here that...
Not
pretty much the only white man in Southall suffering.
Not 24 hours a day, it doesn't, no.
Well, I tell you, it does here,
Does it?
It's a joke.
Right.
What would you suggest?
Move to Mile End.
Move to Mile End.
Come live around my house, Rog.
All right, mate.
Thank you very much. I'm sure underneath it you're a nice bloke, but let's not, 08700 40 50 60. there's so many points to that. But let's just not go there tonight, you know, because we've kind of been there before. And how do you address it? I mean, how do you address what one person feels and genuinely feels is an infringement of what, you know, their space or their culture is, okay? That, I can't speak on his behalf, but just that premise does not make you a racist, all right? No matter where you come from, whatever colour you are, if you have a belief within your body that something is being infringed, okay, you could live in this country, you can live in any country, then that's at a deeper level of something else. People will say it's a lack of understanding, people will say it's a lack of tolerance, but, you know, there's something else there. However, I mean, whether he is, you know, of other forthright opinions, we don't know, and we're not going there. Daniel says another crappy joke for you because I'm sure. Oh, hang on, I'll do that in a second. Let me go to Martin, who's on the M40. Martin, how you doing?
Hi, how are you?
I'm all right. What do you got for us?
I heard you say about 10 minutes ago, you read in the paper that the average age of women having children is 30 nowadays.
Yeah.
I'd like to disagree with this. Most women that leave school nowadays, 16, 17, 18 to 20, sort of 21 at the maximum, are having children because of the fact they're getting council properties, they're getting single-parent benefits.
No. Most of them are not. A very, very tiny percentage are.
Well, I'd like to disagree with that.
Well, you can't disagree with it. It's a fact. I mean, most 21-year-olds have not got kids.
Well, I totally disagree with that.
Well, you can't disagree with it because most of them haven't.
Yeah, well,
maybe they are. No, most 21-year-olds in Portsmouth have not got kids, Martin.
Most 21-year-old girls in Portsmouth have got kids.
No, they haven't.
They have?
No, they have not.
Oh, I'm sorry, but I'm going to totally disagree with you.
Well, I have the Portsmouth City Council figures here. 87% of 21-year-olds do not have kids.
Well, I totally disagree with that.
Well, you can't disagree with it because it's a fact.
Well, it's not a fact.
And you don't get a council house just by having a kid.
Yes, they do.
No, you don't.
They do.
No, you don't.
That's the whole point.
No, you don't.
Yeah,
that's not the whole point. There are no figures or statistics that say that any girl gets pregnant to go and get a council house. If you have a council house, if you have a kid at 18, you do not get a council house. End of story.
Yeah, they do. That is the point. If they leave home with the child and state that their mother has thrown them out of the house, the council will rehouse them with a 1-bedroom or 2-bedroom flat within 6 weeks of them leaving home.
Not automatically. Not automatically. Believe me, most young girls, as young as some girls may well be, and sure, there is such a thing as naivety, would not put themselves through the hassle of having a baby, which, you know, I mean, I'm no woman and neither are you, Martin, but I can only imagine it's a brave old decision no matter what age you are, and sure, some people flippantly get into that situation. I'm not denying that, but I don't think the average girl in this country would put themselves through all of that for a bit of accommodation.
Well, I'm afraid they do, because the benefits of having that child, right, they're getting all the social security benefits, they're getting child support from whoever the father is, whether he's living with them or whether he's not. They're getting money from whatever boyfriend they've got at the time. They get a council property and everything thrown in just through having a baby.
So all these single mothers are doing really well, are they?
They are doing well.
Of course they're not doing well, Martin.
Well,
when you have a baby at 18, you put your life on hold for a good few years.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. They do. But what I'm saying is the benefits of them having a baby at 18 is far outreaching the cons of them having a baby at 18.
Well, believe me, the average age for women to have babies is 30 in this country.
Well, I totally disagree with that figure, and I think the government should rethink that figure.
Well, you don't rethink it, that's a fact, you know, but there you go. Thank you very much indeed. That's Impossible Martin, who's on the M40. It doesn't matter what you'd say to him, does it? He's not agreeing with any of it. 08700 40 50 60. That's 08700 40 50 60. Don't forget, of course, coming up a bit later on, it's a Weird Story Spesh and more.
Introducing Sunraysia's Dan Presser, his mum Ruby, and his younger son Bram.
Why are you throwing that boomerang, Bram?
History has it that over 130 years ago, the MacArthur family from Devonshire, England, planted the first prune trees in Australia.
Careful with that boomerang, Bram.
That's the same family that founded Australia's wool industry.
Yes, it certainly is, and everyone knows the high quality of Australia's merino wool.
And it is said the MacArthurs developed the best prune trees in the whole wide world.
It's the descendants of these very same trees from which Sunraysia makes its prune juice.
Sunraysia prune juice is a good source of vitamin C and dietary fibre.
Sunraysia prune juice has no preservatives, no artificial flavours, and no sugar added either.
From Devonshire to Australia, and now back to Devonshire again, just in time for tea and scones.
Trust Sunraysia to take their prune juice to the UK, Dan.
You can now find Sunraysia prune juice in the fruit juice aisle of selected Sainsbury's stores. 15 pence of your purchase price of Sunraysia 1 litre prune juice is donated to the Cancer Research Campaign.
Jungle.com, the best place to buy computer products online. Visit Jungle.com, the UK's biggest online computer superstore.
Remember what you heard.
Comes out to Keane, who hits a brilliant goal. Oh, what a goal by Roy Keane. Beckham steps away to take it, hits one in brilliant. York, it's in. Lovely ball to Cole. Cole's in the area and must score, and has.
Remember where you heard it. Your station for sports news and views. Talk Radio.
Chinese chicken, east does west. That's brilliant. Thank you very much for that, Reverend Alabama. We'll do another one of that. There's another track. The last track on the album is called The End, and we'll give you a snippet of that in just a little while as well. Les says, Ian, what started off as a means test, reference disability, has a habit of changing 5 or 6 years down the line. If Blair really wants to save money, why doesn't he clamp down on insider dealing and white-collar crime? I can't imagine Blair doing anything that I would approve of. The latest bit of gerrymandering against Ken Livingstone is nothing short of a disgrace. Yeah, giving old Ken a bit of a hard time there, aren't they? Trying to work out a way not to get this man elected. It's hilarious. When I think most people down in the capital seem pretty, pretty keen on the old boy. Right, Daniel says, another crappy joke for you, because I'm not sure if you read out my last one, as I fell asleep before 5 o'clock. And before this, plug the chat room. Plug the chat room, because it needs some more liveliness. Yeah. Well, we keep plugging the website, saying get in there. And we've done it a lot tonight. voiceofthecommonman.com, voiceofthecommonman.com. Get in the habit, and there is a chat room as well. You can chat to people while you listen to the show. Anyway, this better be really good. This better be the best gag in the whole damn world, because I'll be bitterly disappointed if it's not, all right? It goes like this. Bill Gates dies in a car accident and finds himself in purgatory, being sized up by God. Well, Bill, I'm really confused on this call. I'm not sure whether to send you to heaven or hell. After all, you enormously helped society by putting a computer in almost every home in the world, and you created the ghastly Windows 95. I'm going to do something I've never done before. In your case, I'm going to let you decide where to go. Bill replied, well, thanks, God. What's the difference between the two? God said, I'm willing to let you visit both places briefly if it'll help you make a decision. Bill said, okay, let's try hell first. So Bill Gates went to hell. It was beautiful, clean, with a sandy beach and clear waters. There were thousands of beautiful women running around, playing in the water, laughing and frolicking. The sun was shining and the temperature was absolutely perfect. Bill was very pleased. Hey, God, this is great. If this is hell, I really want to see what heaven's like. Fine, said God, and off they went to heaven. Heaven was a place in the clouds with angels drifting about, playing harps and singing. It was nice, but just not as enticing as hell. Bill thought for a minute and said, I think I prefer hell, God. Fine, retorted God. As you desire. So Bill Gates went to hell. So weeks later, God decided to check up on the late billionaire to see how he was doing. When God arrived in hell, he found Bill shackled to the wall, screaming amongst the hot flames in a dark cave. He was being burned and tortured by demons. How's everything going, Bill? God asked. Bill cried out in anguish and disappointment. Hey, God, this is awful. This is not what I expected. I can't believe this happened. What happened to the other place with the beaches and the beautiful women playing in the water? God said, that was the demo, Bill. It's a computer joke. It's quite funny, really.
It was quite good, yeah.
It's quite clever.
It is, yeah. Yeah, it was a goodie.
So there we go.
Very, very few of those long ones that come in by fax are funny, but that was quite good.
That wasn't bad.
That was quite good.
Yeah, it kind of half worked.
Half past the test.
Half past the test. 08700 40 50 60, and I think we've got time for a dose of this.
It's time to go scream.
Hang on, Constance. Constance is listening, who gets freaked out by the scream.
Yeah.
Turn your radio down, Constance, and don't fall out of bed. What are you like? She fell out of bed before.
It's time to go screenless.
Hello, Talk Radio. 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 Beautiful. It's 08700 40 50 60. We're just going to hit some lines. Coming up, Weird Story Special. It's about an act of strength. That's all I can really tell you, actually. Hello to everybody who's baking at the moment, and we know there's a lot of bakers out there. Some regular bakers, of course. They are the fabulous baker boys. Sumpy and the crew, who are like making buns and stuff for very high-profile play. Are you still making buns, Sump, for that, that place in the news today? Yeah, good. Tony, of course, in Horsham. Busy beaver. And then, of course, all the unknown bakers that we never, we don't hear about. There's all the postmen, all the market traders, like all the early morning market traders who are up at this moment in time. Whether you're doing, whether you're on general market detail or whether you've got a bit of a fish situation going there or a meat thing or, your cheeses and stuff. Everybody says, particularly in the capital, what we should do when we leave here is mooch down to some of those dumb places and get the best cheeses and grub you can get anywhere. And I'm sure there's got to be a couple of those boys listening with the old rads on at this moment in time who will save us a nice wedge of, a bit of English cheddar or something. Got to be out there. I could do a shopping that way, couldn't I?
We don't get anywhere.
Trout.
We don't get anywhere near as enough freebies as we should and could do out of this show.
That's true, but then again, if you are doing the markets, you give someone a bit of fish is your livelihood, isn't it?
Oh well, not to worry.
Let's do a bit of a tour, wouldn't I? Around the whole lot. But I need a proper freezer actually, so I can get half a sheep in there or something.
A blank freezer.
Yeah, just hack a leg off every now and every Sunday or something. Well, that'd get me through 2 Sundays, well, 4. Well, if I only got half, it'd be 2, wouldn't it?
Exactly.
That's what you need to do. You need a big freezer. I'll hang it out my window with my dead things in it. Right, let's go here. Hello. No, it's not. Hello. very much. Let's... Too nuts. Too nuts, too much. Much too young. Okay, hello?
Hello, yes. I just wanted to say that it's utterly contemptible and cowardly of you to attack disabled and handicapped people on air simply to get them to phone up so that you can further abuse them, and I hope that you get what you deserve.
Let's go to this line here. Hello, Talk Radio.
Hello, it's me, the great Cornelio. I listen TV from my mouth.
I'm glad you're there. Let's go to this line here. Hello, Talk Radio.
Hello.
Hello.
I've got another Bill Gates joke for you if you're interested.
You go, fire away.
Right. Bill Gates, Bill Clinton, and Boris Yeltsin are snatched by God and taken to heaven.
Yeah.
He gives them a meal, and they say, right, he says, this is what I brought you for. He said, I want you to take a message back to the earth. I need some important people to do it. He said, the message, I'm going to destroy the world tomorrow. So, of course, he sends them all back to Earth and all panicking like mad. Boris Yeltsin calls his Politburo and everybody together, and he says, listen, I've got two really bad pieces of news. He said, first, God exists, and secondly, he's going to destroy the world tomorrow. Meanwhile, Bill Clinton goes back to America, and he calls his top senators and everything together. He said, I've got good news and bad news. The good news being that God exists. The bad news is he's going to destroy the world tomorrow. Bill Gates, meanwhile, goes back to Microsoft. He said, calls these people together. He said, I've got two fantastic pieces of news. Firstly, I'm one of the three most important people in the world. Secondly, I've solved the year 2000 problem.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Cheers. 08700 40 50 60. Blimey, time is knocking on. I tell you, it's knocking us like a good one at this end.
It's giving us a good banging.
It is. I tell you, we're nothing more than a bit of old plywood to time's hammer. Okay, hello.
Hello, I'm in the duck talking my breakfast. Yes.
Well, I'm very pleased. But unfortunately, that's the only bit of script you have. 08700 40 50 60. Right, let me just tell you, the Myths album, and there is detail and excerpts of this on the website, which is, of course, www.voiceofthecommonman.com. That's www.voiceofthecommonman.com or www.voiceofthecommonman.com. Which is one word. There's details on that. And we're going to just play a weird story special. Is it ready?
It's coming up, yeah.
It's
so weirdy. It's
this arrives by lorry, this kind of thing. So it's on its way. But before we do go into that, let's play you. This is track 10 off the album by the Reverend Alan Blizzard, and the track is aptly called The End.
Oh no!
King of the Waltz.
includes 14 popular waltzes by Strauss, Shostakovich, Lehar, and many more. Waltz into the Millennium with Andrei Rieu. The new album, Waltzes, out now.
To be or not to be, that is, of course, hey.
Here at Time to Insure, we love beating quotes.
We are not Oh, blimey.
So call 0800 028 2221 with your best quote for motor insurance, and we'll do our best to beat it. It's Time to Insure with Time to Insure. Call 0800 028 2221.
10:53 and 10:89 a.m. This is Talk Radio.
This is really weird. Chinaman Lee Sung-yoi is recorded as having the largest fingernails of any man, measuring an unbelievable 5 feet 3 inches, which is even more incredible when we consider that Yoi is only 5 feet tall. But more mind-blowing than that is the manner in which Yoi met his untimely demise. Returning home from a fingernail growing convention, the coach Yoi was traveling on broke down on the motorway. As Yoi had to get home to feed his pet goldfish, he decided not to wait for the repair services to arrive, but decided to hitchhike, as he was only a few miles from his house. The road was busy, so Yoi sat on a grassy knoll, waiting for someone to notice his predicament. A patient man, he waited and waited and waited, but was still standing in the same place some 5 hours later. Worried that his goldfish may be beginning to float to the top of their tank due to their lack of food, he decided to try and thumb a lift. The passing traffic was still busy, and unfortunately for Yoi, paid no attention to his thumb-waving antics. So he tried to gesture a little more forcefully, which is when a sudden draft of wind caught his enormous thumbnail. The nail caught on the door of a passing diesel lorry and yanked Yoi off the grassy knoll at 60 miles an hour. Yoi was dragged along the motorway by the truck some 20 miles. Needless to say, he did not survive the journey. Luckily, however, his wife remembered to feed the goldfish. Strange, but true.
Waiting in the wings for a bit of a Bloomberg on the money Thursday morning special, everybody. It's like financial detail, it's the share checks, it's the worldwide markets, and it's all coming up in a second. The Big Boys Breakfast, David Banks and Nick Ferrari, whole bunch of stuff going on there. Early morning style and the funny bits. Degsy in the morning has Matthew Marsden, who's the guy that used to be in Coronation Street and then trod a sensational path to oblivion, we thought, but he's going to tell Degsy exactly what he's up to. Anna's here at midday with problems aplenty, and of course Sports Day kicks off with Tony Lockwood and Elvin Martin from 2 o'clock. Somewhat season tickets at 4, and then between 7 and 11 it's football first. UEFA Cup special, Newcastle United and FC Zurich, and of course the Tsunami will be doing it for us. We know it, like what Chelsea did. Okay, stand by. Bloomberg on the money comes up after the news from Sky at 5, which is next.
News Centre. This is Talk Radio News.
Railtrack shareholders versus safety row. Germany wants to meet over beef, and Rangers lose out again in Europe. Good morning, it's 5 o'clock, I'm Nick Hull. Railtrack's expected to announce profits of £1 million a day later. Despite the Paddington disaster, which claimed 31 lives, the company is insisting it still has a duty to its shareholders. But Jonathan Bray from Pressia Group Save Our Railways says the figures will prove they can afford big safety improvements.
The network has deteriorated, their investment plans are not
not going to turn it around. So if they won't do it voluntarily, this news will give further ammunition for the rail regulator to insist that they do fulfil their duty to the public and reinvest their profits in giving us the safe, modern system that we want.
The German government says it wants to hold new talks on the safety of British beef. Like France, Germany still hasn't lifted its import ban. Social Security Secretary Alistair Darling's appealing to Labour's 54 welfare rebels to return to the fold. The Lords are now promising to carry on where they left off in the fight against reforms last night. But Mr Darling says everyone's had their fun and it's time to get back on message.
We've had our arguments. The House of Commons has now voted on the matter. We've decided, and the bill should now pass into law.
One ticket holders scooped the midweek national lottery jackpot. The lucky winner picks up £3.9 million for matching 3, 22, 25, 31, 35 and 37. Talk Radio Sport. Manchester United have been joined by Chelsea in tomorrow's draw for the next stage of the Champions League after the Blues beat Hertha Berlin 2-0 last night. Leeds, Spurs, Newcastle, West Ham and Celtic play tonight to try and join Rangers and Arsenal in the draw for the third round of the UEFA Cup. The bookies make New Zealand favourites to win tonight's Rugby World Cup third-place playoff with South Africa at the Millennium Stadium in Cardiff. Those are the top stories from the Sky News Centre. Talk Radio weather. Dry with sunny intervals and some mist or fog at first in southern and eastern England and South Wales. Wet and windy in Northern Ireland and Scotland, spreading to the rest of the UK later. The highs 16 Celsius, 61 Fahrenheit on the Isle of Wight, 14 Celsius, 57 Fahrenheit on the Isle of Skye. Talk Radio News Time, it's 3 minutes past 5.
Bloomberg on the Money on Talk Radio in association with UKInvest.com, the Internet's premier financial news channel.
Welcome to Thursday's edition of the show that sets you up for the business day. My name's Annabelle Jefferson, and with today's headlines is, of course, Baron Sharma.
Thank you. The world's largest drug maker is born as American Home Products and Warner Lambert of the US confirm a merger. The markets brace themselves for interest rate hikes by both Bank of England and the European Central Bank. And out with the old and in with the new. Safeway ousts its chief executive, sending its stock up 6%.
Good morning, Baron.
Good morning.
That was nothing compared to the stock of another certain company that went up 1,500%.